It is unfortunate that a movie was made out of this book, because it really takes something away from it. This is a wonderful, original story. A boy named Bastian steals a book called The Neverending Story from a bookshop and hides himself in the schoolhouse attic to read it. The book he has stolen is about the magical world of Fantastica, a world that is interconnected with its ruler, the childlike empress, but she is dying, and Fantastica is dying with her. As he reads on, Bastian gets slowly more and more drawn into the book, until the two worlds begin to overlap. The style of the book is clever and elegant. It is easy to distinguish the parts set in Fantastica from the parts set in the schoolhouse, for the parts in the schoolhouse are written in italics. The ideas are original. I love the idea of the nothing that engulfs Fantastica. You can't even see it properly because there is nothing to see, and nothing else I have ever read rivals it for ingenuity. Though the book is not particularly long, so much happens in it that by the time you reach the end you feel as if you have been reading it for years. The broad outline of the plot that I gave only covers the first part of the book. I can't write anymore because I don't want to spoil it. The book's also humorous and gives the reader a few things to think about, though not in an obvious way. The morals are there to be picked up if you happen to notice them. This is an absolute classic, and I would unhesitatingly recommend it to anybody who loves a really good fantasy novel. Alexis had only one clue to her mother's past, a faded wedding picture which had stood on Sophia's bedside table for as long as Alexis could remember, the ornate silver frame worn thin with polishing. In early childhood, when Alexis used her parents' big, bumpy bed as a trampoline, the image of the smiling but rather stiffly posed couple in the picture had floated up and down in front of her. Sometimes she asked her mother questions about the beautiful lady in lace and the chiseled platinum-haired man. What were their names? Why did he have grey hair? Where were they now? Sophia had given the briefest of answers, that they were Aunt Maria and Uncle Nikolaus, and they had lived in Crete and that they were both now dead. This information had satisfied Alexis then, but now she needed to know more. It was the status of this picture, the only framed photograph in the entire house, that intrigued her as much as anything. The couple had clearly been significant in her mother's childhood, and yet Sophia always seemed reluctant to talk about them. It was much more than reluctance. In fact, it was stubborn refusal. As Alexis grew into adolescence, she had learned to respect her mother's desire for privacy. It was as keen as her own teenage instinct to lock herself away and avoid communication. But she had grown beyond all that now. Hollywood has always mined comic books for ready-made characters with instant audience recognition. Some of the resultant films were good. Think of Superman and the spiritual darkness of Batman, most less so. Some directors are mining graphic novels to better effect. Quentin Tarantino used and me, the two-dimensional animation style derived from Japanese manga comic books, for scenes in his film *Ale Bill*. Back on the printed page, however, the graphic novel form is evolving. Authors and artists now use the literary form as witness to recent events, for polemics, for coming-of-age stories, and for tender tales of family life. Graphic novels often demand 3 readings, once for the text, once for the drawings, and once to bring the two together. Authors play with the possibilities, using the graphics to tell a different tale to the text. In Jimmy Corrigan, The Smartest Kid on Earth by Chris Ware, an estranged father and son are pictured in a diner scene reminiscent of Edward Hopper's painting Nighthawks. It is only later, when they realize that they have had their car stolen, that the reader turns back to see the thief clearly outlined by the light from the diner window. Ware varies his frame sizes too, adjusting the emphasis of each and, on some pages, creating a collage of images that illuminate the story. Other authors use whole pages to create the dramatic impact of a film close-up.